Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Number 31, People versus Leon Odum, 23832 FH.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan Emmons, on behalf of the people.
And Assistant Public Defender Chinaza Kyriakin-Rui on behalf of Mr. Leon Odum. Mr. Odum, could you state your name for the record, please?
Yeah, Leon Odum.
Okay, today's date and time set for violation of probation hearing. Are we resolved on this matter, counsel? Are we going to have the hearing today, or what are we going to do?
Your Honor, we do not intend to have the hearing. Mr. Odum is prepared to enter a plea to the violation. However, I know we did adjourn this matter last time because the court wanted us to get clarification from probation. The recommendation was a little different than what we would normally do, as in they were requesting that my client complete the year, revoke probation, and then still do Don Farm as well as accountable choices. But they did not want to allow for early release if he were to complete those programs timely. So I did reach out to the probation officer who made that recommendation, and they indicated that they are not changing their recommendation. So that's what it is. But he would be entering the plea today, and then we would just be requesting that the court sentence him accordingly.
Okay. Mr. Odum, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Odum, you understand that there's not a guarantee in this. In other words, there's a bit of a discrepancy. You're going to be asked to plead guilty to the violations as they are in the warrant, but that there's not an agreement between your lawyer and probation on what the outcome should be. So okay. I will ultimately make that decision, and I'll hear from you, and I'll hear from Ms. Kyriakin-Rui, and I'll hear from prosecutor and probation about what they want me to do. But there's no offer on the table. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that. But because like I say, I'm about at the end of my probation anyway, man.
Okay.
And all this coming back and forth.
Mr. Odum, let the judge finish. We'll wrap it up.
Oh, okay, I thought you were finished, Judge Conlin.
That's okay. You'll have a chance to talk to me. No problem. You can say whatever you want. But other than what I just said, meaning that there's no real deal on the table, you understand that, and that there's no one's made any other promises or threats to you to get you to plead guilty today. Is that correct?
No.
And the decision to do it is yours to make. No one's forcing you to do this?
Yes, it is.
All right. So as it relates to the violation of probation, if you were to enter a guilty plea, again, you're doing this of your own free will, correct?
Yeah.
All right. You would normally have the right to a hearing on this, and that hearing looks like a trial. You'd be able to have witnesses and all that. I'm going to go over some of the rights that you'd have at that hearing and what you're giving up by pleading today. So at the hearing, you'd have the right to require the prosecutor to prove by preponderance of the evidence that you violated your probation as alleged in the warrant. You would be able to examine and cross-examine any witnesses that came to testify. Either you or your lawyer would do that. If you needed witnesses for your defense, I would order them to appear at the trial or the hearing. And if you wanted to testify, you yourself could testify at the hearing. You wouldn't have to. That wouldn't be held against you. But those are all the rights that you have regarding the hearing. Do you understand those and that you're giving them up by pleading today?
Oh, yes, I do.
And you also have the right to an automatic appeal. If you had that hearing and didn't like the outcome, you could just go to the Court of Appeals. There's no question about that. It's automatic. But by pleading, you give up the automatic appeal, meaning that the Court of Appeals would decide whether it's going to hear your case. I wouldn't decide that, and they would decide that, and that would be the final end of that. So you give up that automatic appeal. Do you understand that you're giving that up?
Yeah, but I'm tired of prolonging it now.
Okay. Agent Pollard, I'm going back to you for the help here. Will you give us the date of the warrant and then the allegation? You don't have to read it out, but just the provisions that he violated.
Yes, sir. Your Honor signed this on. Oh.
Those carbons are tough. I know.
September 30th, I believe, Judge.
Okay.
2024.
Okay.
The charges were he failed to report on August 22nd or thereafter. His whereabouts were unknown. Count 2, defendant reported living at 347 Pearl Street in Ann Arbor. The address was invalid. Again, his whereabouts were unknown. And the defendant failed to appear for a violation of probation hearing on September 11th, 2024.
All right. So, Mr. Odum, when you were arraigned, your lawyer had gone over the detail of that warrant. So do you think there's enough information in that warrant for you to understand what they're alleging you violated?
Yeah, but whatever they got on Pearl Street, man, I don't know nothing about that. That address they just read off. That's a miscalculation, or that's a misprint or something, because I never gave them no address on no Pearl Street. I don't even know where Pearl Street is.
Okay,
So,
well, that's complicating things a little bit.
But no, what we really do is do this, man. I ain't got nothing but a couple of months left on misdemeanor probation. I just want to
Mr.
get it
Odum?
over with. No, seriously, I just want to go and get it over with.
We understand
So
that.
I ain't got to be bothered with nobody, probation, no,
Mr. Odum.
none of that. None of that. I just want to just go and get myself over with.
So, Your Honor, if the court does have a copy of the violation, is it possible that he could enter a no contest plea instead?
Any objection to that?
I'm guilty of the violation. I missed the court date. Simple as that, because I got it mixed up with my doctor's appointment. So
No objection,
I
Judge.
did call in.
Mr. Odum?
I was going to turn myself in, but I just don't want to keep doing this, man.
Mr. Odum, sit tight. Okay. So I've had a chance to review the warrant before the court hearing today. I don't literally have it in front of me today, but I looked at it. And
Right.
so my question, I'm going to ask the lawyers, do you believe there's enough detail in the warrant for the defendant potentially to enter a no contest plea? I believe that there is.
I do believe that, Your Honor.
All right.
I do believe that there is.
So, Mr. Odum, you were arraigned some weeks ago on this, and at that you had gone over in detail the warrant. I'm going to ignore the fact that you just told me that some of the allegation regarding Pearl Street isn't accurate. I'm going to ask you, and I think what's going to resolve this is what's called a no contest plea. So, Ms. Kariak and Rulli, I'm going to surmise that that's because of failure to recall, perhaps.
That is correct, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Odum, I'm going to say that there's some confusion about that Pearl Street thing, but the effect would be the same if you plead no contest to these violations. So as it relates to the 3 alleged violations, how do you plead?
No contest.
Okay, I do find that there is adequate information in the warrant to account for the no contest plea, and that the defendant is informed enough to capably enter that and support the allegations in the warrant. So, counsel, have I complied with MCR 6.445 in taking Mr. Odum's plea?
Yeah, the people have testified that you have.
Defense is satisfied as well, Your Honor.
I believe I've complied with the court rule as well, and I find the defendant's plea of no contest is knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily, and accurately made. I am satisfied that there is a factual basis to support the finding that the defendant is guilty of each of the alleged violations in the warrant dated of, I believe, Agent Pollard, you said it was September of 2024?
December
30th, maybe?
September 30th.
2024, and I will accept your plea. Mr. Odum, do you object to me moving to immediate sentence in this matter?
No, I do not.
Okay, so I'm going to first turn to Mr. Emmons and Agent Pollard to tell me what the requested or the recommended sentence is now today. Like, let's be clear on this.
I'll go, Mr. Emmons. Agent Gist's recommendation is to revoke probation, and he be ordered to complete the programming in jail and not to be released early. That was her recommendation. I'll leave the rest up to the court's discretion. He is due to be off probation in 2 days on the 22nd. So, yeah, basically our recommendation is to revoke.
Okay. All right. So let me ask, is there anything you want to add to that, Mr. Emmons?
Yeah, thank you. I understand if we're going to revoke and sentence him to 1 year, I don't know what the punishment is going to be if he doesn't do the programming requirement. So I would suggest that probably the better thing to do is, unless obviously Mr. Odum wants to take advantage of the programming to provide him a better outlook on the future. If he does decide to do the programming, then perhaps it would be something where his attorneys could put up a motion to consider discharge.
And
So-
Judge, if I may, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm seeing where the original recommendation, I guess I wasn't clear, or I didn't see the full recommendation that was made back when he was arraigned on this, which was revoke probation, 365 days jail, credit for 175. Our programming recommendation was that he still complete it and not be released early, even if he did complete it. So I think that's where, that was the original recommendation. I was looking at a note from when he was in court last.
So let me, it was how many days recommended?
Well, 1 year, he had credit for 175 back on, he's gonna have more
Right.
on September 11th. So
So it's
He's
really
been-
another 60 days. So that's
Yeah.
approximately, 235 days.
Correct.
And so what did you say the 22nd was? The 2 days from now to be released?
what, that's you originally sentenced him to 6 months jail. I'm sorry, 6 months probation back in May.
Right.
So November 20, I mean, if we was to reinstate him, we'd have to extend him.
Right.
That's basically what I was saying.
This is a complicated little ball of wax. Let's get
It's getting
straightforward.
long.
So let's just go ahead, Ms. Akiriak, and really, what do you think I should do?
Your Honor, what we are requesting is that, well, first I will say, Mr. Odum and I had a great conversation yesterday. He informed me that he's on the list for housing right now. He has taken anger management class while he was in the jail. He has also, you completed Dawn Farms, is that right, Leon?
No, I was on the list, but they had me in L block.
L block,
You
so-
can't, yeah, you can't attend class and then, cause they ain't have no space in here or something. Yeah.
So he is currently on the list for Dawn Farm. He indicated something about there not being an ability for him to do the accountable choices class, but he instead opted to do the anger management class because he was told that they both kind of cover the same things. So I think he has been doing exceptionally well since he has been in custody. We're asking that the court, I would ask that if he's able to finish that Dawn Farm program early, that the court will allow him to be released. He is okay with revoking probation and allowing him to just finish off the classes and hopefully be released as soon as he's done with that.
Okay. Mr. Odum, your lawyer just did a great job of advocating for you. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Just knowing that if I were to do what she asked right now, if you said something that changed that course, it might be worse for you. So I'm just letting you know that. But you can tell me anything you want.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm still, I've been waiting for the Dawn Farm, but hopefully, I was hoping to start the Dawn Farms class before this, before I even came back to court. But on L block, you can't do it. So I did the anger management because they don't have accountable choices.
Right.
So I did the anger management on tab. So I got the certification in that. She got the thing to go on IMBO. But I've been doing a lot of other stuff. And then she just came 2 weeks ago and did my application for housing, for public housing. Still got to I got to reset appointments for SSI stuff so I can start getting early retirement and stuff. I mean, I've been doing a lot of stuff, but it's kind of hard when you're homeless, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So making appointments and all this stuff and all like that, it was kind of hard to do. So I didn't get stuff mixed up trying to shoot here, shoot there and all that. But no, Miss my attorney is a good person. So me and her, we talk, and you've been a great judge. I can't go against nothing that you said. You've been fair. And
So
frankly,
let me just ask you a question, Mr. Odum. What kind of seems to be on the table is that probation wants you to do the year in jail with whatever credit you have and not get an early release. What your lawyer is asking me, or what you're asking me for, if I'm getting this correct, is that you're in jail, you want to do the in-jail programming, but if you finish it, you want to get released at that time. Is that accurate?
yeah, that would be a recommendation.
All right, so I'm going to stop you right there. It is the sentence of the court that you serve 1 year. I mean, your probation is revoked
Okay.
and you are discharged from probation. It is the sentence of the court that you served 1 year in the Washtenaw County Jail with, I'm going to say, credit for approximately 235 days. It's not clear to me what the exact number is, but that can be filled in, but it's approximately 230 days.
Okay.
And so we'll get that right. But I will order that upon your completion of the Dawn Farm program in jail programming and the accountable choice, or you did the anger management. So I'm just going to say that if you complete the Dawn Farm programming, you can be released at that point.
Okay, so, can I ask can you,
I don't know that I can order you change to a different cell block. So
no.
He's in the correct cell block now,
Okay.
Your Honor.
None of that, Your Honor, none of that. I was just.
I don't have that kind of power.
Can you put your order in for the Don Farms class?
Oh, he is asking that the court, I think with this order, if the court is ordering you to do the Don Farm, that would push you up on the list. Is that correct,
Yeah.
Judge?
Yes.
You would do the in-farm. As soon as there's a space available for him to do the in-jail Dawn Farm program, upon his completion, he can be released.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah,
right.
that's what I
Thank you
was
very
saying.
much, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set, Mr. Odum. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, y'all. All right.
Number 12, People versus Shannon French, 23264 FH.
Ready, Judge?
Oh, you know what?
Good afternoon.
She's still here.
Yep, thank you. Katie Rosmerski for the people.
Portia Feaster, Assistant Public Defender, appearing on behalf of Mr. Shannon French. Mr. French, please unmute, turn on your camera, and state your name for the record. Mr. French?
Uh-oh. There we go.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Today's the date and time set for sentencing in this matter. Counsel, are we proceeding to that?
I guess before we go too far down the road, Judge, I know it's after 5. There's one condition that I know Mr. French is going to have a problem with, and I can brief it if we need to adjourn it. That condition is the condition where he, number 1, must not provide care for any individual age 17 or under. He has a son who I think is about 7.
No, my son, 2.5 years old.
2.5, I apologize. And he's going to want to have contact with his son. So if that's going to be a point of contention, I can ask to adjourn and try to brief that issue.
I think, well, Ms. Smirsky or Agent Pollard, I would say that if we know that's going to be of contention and there's a possibility of some articulation of why that might be necessary, or I don't know. I mean, I guess it's either, I know the prosecutor and probation are going to collaborate on this, but again, it would give us an opportunity to review the specifics of that. So what do you think?
I'm sorry, Judge, are you asking, will I be opposing a request to strike the first condition?
I'm going to guess that off the top of your head, you will be opposing that.
I will be.
But
I
I'm
met
wondering
with one of the children involved in this case, and I assuredly will be opposing a request to.
So I'm
to do
wondering,
anything different.
Before we get to that opposition, you want to give Mr. Feaster an opportunity to specifically articulate what is being asked.
I think he's just, I will proceed however the court and counsel want to proceed. It sounds to me like he's asking for you to just waive or not abide by the recommendation for condition number 1. And if that is what he's asking, I will be opposed to that. If he's asking that only his son be accepted from that requirement, I will also be opposing that, at least in any unsupervised capacity.
I appreciate that. That's kind of why I'm glad to have asked that of you. And
Sure.
He's heard that too. So, Mr. Feaster, I think we probably should get a clearer, like if you want me to modify that, I would need an incredibly specific act from you. And it would give then probation and the prosecutor an opportunity to address that specifically. And then I think I can make a decision. So
fair. I just didn't want to go too far down the road knowing that was the
all right. So how long do you need to go? I mean, if this is just going to be a sentencing and we're just going to be going through it, how far out do you want to go to submit something?
Can we go to the 18th date maybe?
Sure. So we'll adjourn, Mr. French, your sentencing to December 18th. Your
What
attorney.
about the tether, man? I'm still on the tether. What about the tether? I don't want to adjourn nothing, man. I want to get this shit over with, man.
Mr. French, you watch your language, and you do want to have contact with your son while you're on
I
this.
do.
Yes.
That's why I don't understand why that cause is even there. I ain't even did nothing. I ain't even talked to nobody. Ain't touched nobody. Ain't did shit to no motherfucking body.
Mr.
Man, y'all
French.
got me documented.
Okay.
Mr.
That
French,
shit, man.
watch your language.
I'm pretty sure we're going to adjourn
Man.
this 18th so that I don't do something that's ill-advised right now. So,
Thank you, Judge.
okay. So we'll be back on December 18th at 1:30. That will be in person, which might then negate some of the language issues. So, okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.